What video game would you wish to play again for the first time? Mayfear 1. Morrowind. That was more captivating than anything I had played before. It would be amazing if we could have an updated version. Morrowind. What a game. So wide and full of variety and opportunity, yet so unforgiving. Playing for days and weeks, not realizing you've sold or thrown away the package to Chaos Khazades, only to have to start over again. Then getting into the main quest line for real. Backtracking the very old-fashioned journal for the very vague yet important information, until you get to Telfia and kill a corporate stalker. Having to start the game over yet again. Doing one playthrough for each faction. Earning the respect of every single NPC of the game. Completing all guild and side quests with no quest trackers. Having silk striders and boots of blinding speed as your main way of fast traveling, until you find the fortress teleports. Was this from the DLC? Can't remember. Putting a stack of coins on your with key to level up athletics overnight. Finding Umbra and getting the Umbra sword for the early game cheese. Realizing at some point in your 40th playthrough that magic has actual uses. Rather playing the shit out of a video game like never before. This is the best game ever. And to sound clutch for the occasion, I'd give anything to experience this game for the first time ever again. Fable. Chicken Chaser. Half-Life back in the early 2000s. I remember when Half-Life came out. Back then you could still burn copies of game discs and use a crack to play it for free. Got a copy from my uncle knowing nothing about it. Up until then my experience with shooters was just GoldenEye and Doom clones. Just going through the train ride and exploring the office, I thought, holy shit, what is this? This is different. That, along with Ocarina of Time, were the games that made me really love video games as an art. I bought Half-Life 2 and was super excited to play it. After installing all 5 discs, it needed to verify with Steam and it took over 15 hours on dial-up. Back when Steam was hated. I still replay it every few years. And I wish I could experience it for the first time again. Same. Ravenholm was the stuff of nightmares. Metal Gear Solid. I loved the Psycho Mantis boss fight first time I encountered him. I'd never seen a game screw with the player like that before. Or since. Unreal Tournament. Back when I played PC games and life was simpler. Classic. Original Pokemon Red Blue. I'm sad that I'll never be able to experience the sheer joy I felt 20 plus years ago. I didn't know Giovanni was the 8th gym leader, and my little mind was blown. Also playing Gold Silver for the first time and seeing all the returning characters was awesome. Especially Koga as an Elite 4 and Blue as a gym leader. Oh man. And then after you beat the Elite 4, you're thinking the game is over, and then you find out you just unlocked the Kanto region and you get to face the original 8 gyms. That is a first time I wish I could get back. Portal. Followed by Portal 2. If you've got a shorty memory like mine, and wait a couple years between playthroughs, it's like playing for the first time again. It's beautiful. Diablo 1 and 2. Especially the first one. I remember it being terrifying as a kid. I would wait for daylight to go to the catacombs and caves. The game was also pretty unforgiving. Dying would make all your items drop on the ground. The second was just pure magic. It seems so simple now as an adult, but this was also before YouTube and Twitch. You had to just figure the game out yourself. There was no meter to follow. If you trained your character and found out you put points in the wrong spells, you had to just remake them. Mana potions were not bought. So playing Melee of Magic had its pros and cons. The trading system was essentially old school bartering. You just traded item for item. No one knew what was good, so they just collected everything. Subnautica. I made the mistake of checking the wiki my first time around. That or Zelda BOTW. Oh yay, famous Subnautica. Every time I get to the end I'm like, nice. Let's get the duck out from this forsaken planet and fast. I recently got the game and got lost after 5 minutes. I simply didn't know what I should do sadly. Game looks fantastic, but I don't want to Google right at the beginning. Dragon Age Origins. I have so many fond memories of playing that in high school. Super Mario 64. For kids in the late 80s early 90s we only had 2D games, and when Super Mario 64 came out it was magical. Mario's controls were so precise and accurate, and it looked so ahead of its time. I grew up on the 2D Sonic games, and when I first got my hands on Mario 64 it blew my mind. Jumping through that first painting and popping up and Bob-omb Battlefield, with that wonderful soundtrack, was incredible. This is my favorite answer. I remember my dad and I rented it for like 2 months straight from our local video rental place. When we first ran around the flag post my dad almost shit his pants. Super nostalgic for me, haha. Ocarina of Time. N64. 100% I must have been 11, 12 when I played this first time. Genuinely convinced it was endgame when completing the first 3 dungeons as Child Link. Then he grows up and mind blown. No game like it back in the day. The Star Wars COTA games. I've played them both way too many times. Edit didn't expect to get awards for this. Thanks y'all. One of my all-time favorites for sure. I miss the heart-stopping feeling from the reveal toward the end of the game. So few games have ever come close to that. What I wouldn't give to experience that reveal for the first time. Someone spoiled it for me when I was in high school. Not that I haven't held onto that bitterness for 15 years or anything. Oh man, that's rough. The major plot twists for both games were mind-blowing. It's sad that major games don't have that level of story and character development anymore. I consider the COTA games to be some of the best storytelling ever written. The way the second game handled light and dark side and made you question everything you've ever known about morality. The writers should have won an award for it. Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. Went to my uncle's house for Christmas break. He had built his own PC, and for 2 solid weeks I played the game for at least 16 hours a day. Had to go back home though, and I never played it again. I've always had it in my mind to build my own PC. Never have before. And playing it over again. Maybe with some mods to update the graphics. But the quest lines, side missions, items, magic, etc. just blew me away like nothing else had. Edit, holy shit. I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. I've been talking about this game for 10 years and nobody I've came across has played it before. Seeing this game get this kind of love warms my heart. Oh man. The first time you get to Kvatch and the sky starts to turn red. That was when I knew I was playing something special. Chrono Trigger for sure. Edit, my favorite scene from the game Link. I'm going way old. The original Mist. Edited to add. Thanks for the awards. My first ones. Total game changer, the eerie stillness. The haunting music. Mist was a major reason I did so poorly in school the year it came out. The eerie stillness. The haunting music. When I was a kid, I could play games like Shivers and be perfectly fine. But for some reason Mist would always make feel really uneasy to the point where I disliked playing it and would always note the duck out but eventually would come back and try again. I find this sort of slight feeling of something wrong, while in broad daylight way more scarier and creepier. Like I could never figure out if Mist was actually a horror game or not. And the fact of not knowing, that just made it way worse, like a sort of narrative uncanny valley. I've yet to see Weed play anything else that recreated this effect. Bioshock. Edit, thanks for the awards. To be honest, I was never interested in the trilogy cause I'm not very good at first person shooter games. During the lockdown last year, I decided to give it a try and now I'm totally obsessed with Rapture. Would you kindly? A man chooses. A slave obeys. Halo. I first played as a kid and didn't realize how good the shift in tone from bullet belching super soldier to fighting alien zombies was. You're cool until you're scared. Truly a masterpiece. The Flood terrified me as a kid. Luckily that was the game me and my older brother played all the way through on co-op, but lord, I had nightmares about them and earlier in life the Red Dead and Wall Masters from Ocarina of Time. Fallout 3. It was so revolutionary to me when it came out. I spent hours upon hours just combing through bombed out buildings. Now it seems pretty basic, but at the time it was so immersive that I almost quit my job just to keep playing. Edit, wow. Thanks for all the awards. especially because they were real places. I loved comparing the views to modern day pictures of DC. When my friend and I went to DC a few years ago, we had to take the metro for part of it. He had to listen to a bunch of inane "I killed a super mutant" their jokes. Final Fantasy X 2018 God of War. I hadn't played a game in a year or two, and I was just mesmerized by every aspect of it. I don't think I stopped smiling the whole time playing it, and never had a similar experience like that before. Edit, thanks for the awards. Nice to hear so many had similar experiences with it like I did. Majora's Mask. I was too young to appreciate it the first time. The upside is I've forgotten 95% of it. I remember that annoying couple mask, and I remember the damn shooting aliens at night, and the rest is pretty much forgotten. Edit O. And the creepy hand that needs toilet paper. Rune Escape before bots took over. In my opinion, the best part of Rune Escape was learning how to play. Once you know what you're doing, it just becomes a clicking simulator. Outer Wilds. Once you play it, you can't truly play it again. I keep trying to convince my friends to play Outer Wilds, in part so I can talk to them about the experience afterwards. But it's so hard to really sell it without giving too much away. Mass Effect 2. The entire trilogy really. Fallout New Vegas. After Lime 20 playthroughs, I tend to skip a duck ton of quests cause I know where everything is. Granted, it's obvious that you need to go to Vegas, but I used to follow the plot and dialogue closely. I used to experiment. Now I avoid going off-road till level 14 and jet straight into Vegas to kill Benny. I have 2,000 plus hours into that game and still discover little things every time I play. Hollow Knight. Stumbling into Green Path for the first time was the truly unforgettable moment for me. Was challenging the Mantis Lords. Seeing the challenge option and pulling out my nail just gave me chills and had me giggling in pure joy. That and entering the City of Tears and hearing that gorgeous music with the sound of the rain. City of Tears was such an incredible location. Also, I found the beehive by total accident. I missed an enemy with an energy bolt and this golden light just came spilling through a wall. One of my all-time top gaming moments. I still can't get over that moment where you sit down next to Quirrell in the first bench there, surrounded by the sound of falling rain, with the music, next to some gorgeous architecture. The way Quirrell looks fondly towards the little night ghost every few seconds. I left my night there to eat with my headphones on to enjoy the music, and when I came back, my knight was asleep. It was so cute. The first Ratchet and Clank. Original FF7. NFS Most Wanted. Underground for me in the NFS realm. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. It's my favorite game of all time and the puzzles really stumped me as a kid. So to play it again for the first time now would be a fascinating experience. Dark Souls Trilogy. Especially Dark Souls 1. Age of Empires 2. Golden multiplayer with my 2 cousins and my brother. We sat down, the 4 of us, not eclectic anything great, and spent the next entire weekend playing, laughing, and having an amazing time. In a rare showing of the stars aligning, my mom didn't even break our chops cause we weren't fighting or making a mess. I would love to play that again for the first time again. The Witcher 3. Still one of my all-time favorite games. Was going to say this. Nothing has ever compared to this game in regards to the feeling of adventure it gives you. The exploration. The gradual learning of all its systems of combat and customization. The feeling of wonder its environments give off, and the complete joy of going to a new map and realizing just how vast it is, and that the story is nowhere near over. Also, it has Gwent, which is just an incredible card game you can lose hours to when you've had enough of slaying monsters. Celeste. After learning the tech and getting good at the game, the feeling over overcoming obstacles after many deaths has left for me. Now I tend to just get frustrated by dying more than a few times on any given room. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Baldur's Gate. Red Dead Redemption 2. Edit, thanks for the awards, I've never got any before. Oh Arthur. The Last of Us. Surprised I had to go this far down for this answer. Horizon Zero Dawn. That game was so beautiful and so unique, I would love to experience it again. Undertale. Such a great story with excellent mechanics. Legend of Zelda. Ocarina of Time. A staple piece of my childhood. Edit whoa, holy cow. Thanks for all the awards. What a game. Am I right? The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for sure, for sure. Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past. I'd love to experience the joy of 11-year-old me back in 1992 playing that masterpiece again for the first time. I've played through Breath of the Wild, and every other, except Skyward Sword and Link to the Past is still far and away my favorite. Portal 2. Batman Arkham Asylum. Actually all 4 Arkham games.